Shabbat Shalom, Israel, Judah, Brother DFG. Hey, my brothers and sisters, I pray that Abba Yah is watching over you and guiding you, and that, you have found time to separate yourself on this 7th day for rest and reflection and meditation. So ensure that, Abba Yah is hearing your prayers as he said he would when we're obedient, to his commandments. And obviously, we know a major part of his commandments is remembering the Shabbat and keeping the Shabbat, clear or pure, uninterrupted. No working, what else? Just no cooking, no task. Just time for reflection, family, getting ourselves, reacquainted with the discipline that Abba Yah is asking of us in these last and evil days. And so, again, I hope that, you're remembering that, as you are participating and being obedient to Abba Yah's Shabbat, and understand the connection to it in our Most High Yahuwah. In our Bible study this past Wednesday night, one of our young sisters. Well, yes, one of our young sisters. She's an adult, but she's a young adult. And she brought to our attention at the very end of the Bible study, the Tanakh study. And she brought about, Second Jubilees, the book of Jubilees, chapter 2. And the importance of the Shabbat and how that ties in with Yahuwah and how it ties into the heavenly host. And also the serious consequences that's associated with it. So I would encourage each and every one of my brothers and sisters, to, read chapter 2 in the book of Jubilees. If you have any concerns in regards to the relevance, of keeping our Abba Yah Shabbat for Israel. For the heathens, they can keep it, not keep it, no consequence for them. But Israel, Judah, failure to keep Abba Yah's Shabbat, when you can keep his Shabbat, can have very, very dire consequences. And that's the best I can say to you, at least from what I understand. Okay, from my understanding of much study, that's what I understand. But again, we know it's written, throughout the Torah, that to keep it. We know it's the 4th commandment, if you're looking at the 10 commandments. But, I'm not sure if we all understand the depths of it, how it all comes together before, our Creator. And that's why I would encourage you, as Sister, Mariah is who it was, share with us at the end of Wednesday night's Bible study. Those of us who hung on for a little bit long, I know many had to leave because had expired our time, but she shared that, and although I had seen it before, but it was a good refresher for myself as well, and maybe it'll be a good refresher for you also. Okay, that said, we're going to be studying in the book of Jasher today, chapter 11, one of the Apocryphal books. I'm not going to go through all the exercises of validating Jasher. If you don't know, Jasher is a valid book and one of the books from Abba Yah, then, I'll just let you, again, deal with that. But, you can find reference to Jasher in the book of Samuel. You can find reference to Jasher in the book of Enoch. You can find reference to Jasher, where else? In the book of Joshua. So, it's really scattered throughout. And Jasher just gives you the details that Genesis, it's just an expanded version of Genesis. Genesis was cooked down, and everything that was healthy, if I can use, cooking as a way to demonstrate or express, to compare these two. Whereas, Genesis, someone had prepared a beautiful meal for you. It was a balanced meal. That's Jasher. And then somebody came in the room and said, you know what, we're going to get rid of the spinach. We're going to get rid of, we're not going to have any vegetables. We're not going to have any protein. We're not going to have anything that's green. All we're going to do is just have some dessert. Well, let's leave the dessert on the plate. And here's a nice Coca-Cola to wash it down. Jasher breaks Genesis wide open. Genesis, again, was another, I'm not going to go as far as to say it's replacement theology, but it's definitely watered down theology. Where the book of Jasher and many of the other apocryphal book, or so-called apocryphal book, hidden books, or books that really, are the glue that makes everything come together. Many, many things that we as Israel, could not understand in its fullness. We couldn't because they left out key information, and they used religion to push a doctrine that it wasn't relevant. It wasn't necessary. And of course, that was intentional to control, to deceive, and to push our people into idolatry. And in these last days, some of us are coming out and waking up. And that's why we're here. That's why you're here. If you're a follower or subscriber to this channel, you're looking for information not only to stay awake, but to strengthen yourselves, with the understanding that when Abba Yah is ready to use you, you'll be there to strengthen others. Okay? And we'll be studying again in the book of Jasher, and we're going to be reading verse 11. It's pretty extensive, and because I'm just going to do it in a study format, I may not read as many precepts that I typically read on the Shabbat, but in order to keep, maybe the message down to one, I'm hoping that's the case, to one, message. Maybe it'll be two, y'all willing, he's in charge. But I'll do a lot more reading and maybe a little less than normal cross-referencing, but that doesn't mean I won't give you scripture and verse that you can go to. And obviously, if you got your saw and hammer, and you should, anytime anybody's teaching, you should have this in your hand. And anytime you're sharing with anyone, anything that you're teaching, you should ensure, brothers and sisters, they have this in hand. Otherwise, you'll just get accused of it being your opinion and, all the other, rhetoric that they're taught in the church to marginalize the truth. Okay? All right, brothers and sisters, moving right along. Let's go on and just a little light news, and then it's not light news, but a little news, and then I'm going to get on into the word. I was watching this CNBC episode, and they were interviewing Elon Musk, and it was very interesting. And I would say to you, my brothers and sisters, if you get a chance, and he's a Tesla guy, I would say take some time to check out that interview. I won't get into the details, but he said some very, very interesting things. Some things that I can assure you that's going to make that little light bulb go off in your head in terms of what the future looks like. Okay, and I'll leave it there because anything more than that will probably cause, the little wicked demons who monitor everything that gets said these days to find an excuse to claim that I'm in some type of violation by exposing that truth. But listen to the interview and pray before you listen to it. Then listen to it carefully. And then read the little ticker tape that goes on under the bottom of the screen. And, and you'll understand why your brother is saying you might want to check that out. Especially if you have children. Okay? Especially if you're depending on longevity in terms of your career is concerned. Job, placement or job replacement. If those things matter to you, then you want to check that out. Okay? Then another thing I want to share before I get into the depths of this message. I had a dream last night. And I don't know if this dream was from Yah or not, brothers and sisters. But it was very, very clear in this dream what happened. And for the most part, I was in this military compound. And inside this military compound, I was trying my best to get someone who needed, really who was looking for an opportunity. I'm not sure what that opportunity was. I don't know if I was trying to get them out of the compound or if I was trying to establish them within. I know that we were waiting on this woman, and this woman was a woman of high authority inside of this compound. And for whatever reason, she was being very elusive. And I kept trying to nail her down, for this man. But every time I thought, I was able to build this bridge to be able to have this conversation or confrontation, whichever the two it was, whatever it was creating anxiety, I know, in myself and the person that was with me. And while we were moving around different places awaiting that meeting, I remember looking out on an open field, and I saw that open field, what they call those plane hangars where the planes go. I saw plane hangars where they park the planes, and they were probably 200-300 yards away, big expanded, compound wherever we were. And while we were there, I was standing there and I was looking, and there was another gentleman came up next to me, very dark complexion man. As a matter of fact, I'm over 6 feet tall, and this guy was taller than myself. And I remember looking over at him, and he started to ask me something, but while he was asking, I heard this noise like a helicopter, talk, 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 talk. And it caught all of our attention. The person that I was trying to assist, the person who was trying to share something with me, and obviously myself. And as I looked up and I saw the helicopter coming around the sky, and then I saw it, I don't know if you can see my hand, I saw it coming down, and it was going down to the to the runway. But it was coming fast and it was smoking. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's going on. Is this thing about to crash? And sure enough, it came down and it crashed right into those hangars, right? And it was an explosion. And it was not just the explosion of the helicopter, my brothers and sisters. I'm looking at this explosion. This explosion happens, and it's just this kaboom. And then this big giant ball of fire consumes all of the hangars. And then there were barracks that were either before, I guess the barracks were behind the hangars. So yeah, you could see the hangars, and I forgot that there were barriers, like a military barriers where people were living at. And so the flame first knocked out all of the hangars with a big ball of fire, and then that fire came right through the barracks, and everything in the barracks became a big ball of fire. And then we're standing there in this open area, like right outside of in a doorway, right outside of I guess I would have to say maybe some type of administration building. And brothers and sisters, the fire didn't stop there. The explosion, the blast came right to us. And all we could do was just to turn our heads. And then I woke up. Now, that's a very high dream, to have. And I guess I could conclude several things about it. But this I will say, I think it was a warning. I think it was a warning, to our people that we're running out of time. I think it also was a warning to our people that if you're not preparing and you're depending on, the government, or you've been dependent upon the government, and not knocking that, because if we live long enough, I think we all will be, then there's going to be some tough choices that they're going to force us to make when you tie it into artificial intelligence as well. And what I believe is that, there are going to be incentives that's going to draw us, or some of us, not all of us, because those of us who are prepping and those who are playing and seeking Abba Yah for direction, who are here and studying and listening, understanding that Yah can put a ring of fire around us and do many miracles. But many of our people are going to be forced into, making decisions where in order to continue to survive, they're going to have to go into, these compounds. And once they get inside these compounds, they're never going to be able to come out again. In other words, it's going to be the end for them. And we've talked about these compounds. We've talked about Jed Helm on this channel. We talked about the FEMA camps on this channel. We talked about, coffins on this channel, guillotines on this channel. All I know, brothers and sisters, is what I saw, and I saw it vividly. And it was coming right at us. And us probably is Israel. All of us, except for the 1/3, and that 1/3 inside that 1/3 that took precautions to not allow themselves, to be so dependent upon, this system and the things that we need for daily living, daily subsistence. Any of that of us has fallen into that category, and you're not praying for Abba Yada to guide you away or give you insight on things that you can do, I'm afraid that, they're going to execute this process, this program. And inside of there are going to be some forced mandates. And I think we already know what that's going to look like. Now, this is what I took away. Okay? I know I said earlier, I'm not sure what it means, but as I reflected and speak it out, for the first time, you guys are the first people, the first ones to hear about this dream. So as I share it, or as I shared it out, maybe it's Abba Yah filling it in. I believe it is, and giving me some insight on, what it is I dreamt, so that, his people can be prepared and they can know what they're up against. And a big part of that preparedness, brothers and sisters, is coming out of idolatry. Idolatry will destroy us for sure. It has destroyed us. It has been destroying us, and no one wants to talk about that. It's the elephant in the room. Everybody wants to avoid idolatry. They'll talk about racism and genderism and bias and what matters and all of those kind of other things. But when it comes down to idolatry, they just don't want to talk about it. Because they know inside of idolatry, it's all the powers that control this earth. The heathens know it. They know it extremely well. They're the ones who invoke that power. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in Jasher chapter 11. But brothers and sisters, make no mistake about it. Don't anybody tell you, people are going to say what they got to say, but I'm telling you, don't take the bait. Oh, it's this, and this is the problem. The economy, it's the dollar, it's bricks. Yeah, all those things exist, no question about it. All those things, factors that we have to be aware of. You better believe we need to be aware of it. But none of those things is the root cause. They're just reflection of an issue. You know what I'm saying? It's these are the outcomes of the things that we don't understand. In other words, there's a hidden hand behind the curtain, and what we're looking at is the after effects and not looking at the root cause. And we're dealing with, with the after effects, never understanding that these after effects will never stop because we're not dealing with the root cause. We're giving you cold medicine, but we're not treating the environment which caused you to be sick. We're not addressing the sanitation issues, so to speak. And the sanitation issue is what we would call wickedness or idolatry, abominable, behaviors or things that Abba Yah creator, our one and only true Elohim. We're not addressing, those things that are affront, to him. And he said, until we do, these curses, will not be removed from us as a nation of a people. And as he judged this wicked flat earth, he's going to judge, all of those of us among us who refuse to take and hear the truth. Although we're spelling this truth out to them crystal clear. And if they would just take time and walk out of these churches, you follow me, and stop letting these so-called pastors or preachers or leaders in their churches, mislead them, misinform them, miseducate them, and study for themselves away from them, then their minds will be able to be open and they would understand what's being hidden. Again, that's why we're here. To try to tell our people these folk who are leading you, they sound smart, they sound intelligent, they have their theology degrees and their seminary degrees, or cemetery, like Sister Rosalind called it, cemetery degrees. But they have no understanding of what Yahuwah is saying to Israel. They are lost in the sauce. But because our people don't study for themselves, what did Hosea says? Abiyah's people perish for a lack of knowledge, right? Yahuwah's people perish for lack of, isn't that Hosea 4:6? Isaiah 1:3, our people will not consider, therefore they will never understand. What did Zechariah, 13:8 say? 2/3 of Israel will be destroyed. 1/3 will be tried through the fire and come out on the other side. Us. Those who've come out. Tried through the fire means coming out of religion and every other, sorcerous society. What did Daniel tell us in Daniel 12:2? At judgment, some will come to what? Some of us, will come out before Abiyah with everlasting life. And then some would what? Would come out of the resurrection, right? When at the judgment to shame and contempt. And what did Isaiah tell us in 66, and 24? They're going to a place where their fire will never be quenched. Their horror will never cease. And their soul will never die. Their worm. And all of these things are sitting right before us. And whether you listen to what I just stated with the dream, these things I'm talking about with technology that's soon to come. What are going to be the mandates to come? And they're already putting that stuff together already. You think the 2020 mandate was something, you wait and see what's about to come down the pipeline real soon. And and the restrictions that are going to be attached to that. And if you think you want to stay in these cities and you're going to be able to operate with no city services, you're going to be forced into these compounds. Except you're with a like-minded group, and we've all come up with a strategy and a plan and a way to communicate when the systems go down. What's that word when you can, when Abiyah has ability, I think it's called telepathy, where you can literally, engage people without saying things to people. I mean, we're quite capable of doing it anyway. We do it on a regular basis. When we look at people that we know, we can look at them and they'll know exactly what we're thinking and we'll know exactly what they're thinking. You ever been at an event or something and you were ready to go and your friend was ready to go, but they were on one side of the room and you were on the other side of the room. You looked at them, they looked at you, and y'all did a move like this and both of y'all headed to the door? What do you think that was? There are many hidden powers inside of us that we have no idea about because we lost those powers because of our ancestors, the ancient ones amongst us, in their rebellion. So Abiyah disconnected them, at least disconnect the knowledge of it from them. We still have it. He just shut that part of our brain down. You ever wonder why they said we only use, 10% of our brain? Why do you think the other 90% is not functioning properly? Have you ever considered that's Abiyah's doing? Because of our rebellion? And interestingly enough, if you think about it, brothers and sisters, the closer we get to Abiyah, the more of our brain starts to become stimulated. Daniel called it, the wisdom. At least when Gabriel told Daniel, he said the wise would understand and their knowledge would increase. Daniel chapter 12. Whenever our, mighty men had to do something, they said Abiyah gave them the wisdom to do it. Abiyah gave them the ability to understand it. Abiyah gave them the strength, Yahuwah, to fight. 2 men putting, whole cities, send the whole city to meet their maker. Outstanding power, Samson kind of power, Simeon and Levi kind of power, Judah kind of power. We were told that by David, one would put 1,000 to flight, 10,000 to flight. What did Isaiah 43 say? Although we go through the waves, the waters would come, the floods would come, or the fire would come, but Yahuwah would be with us. And all that ties into us, all that information, all that power ties into us knowing who we are as the people of the book, my brothers and sisters. But it doesn't just stop with knowledge of who we are as people of the book. It has to go farther. Who do the people of the book belong to? Who are the chosen ones who are written in the book? The real chosen ones. They're not that hard to identify. But if you don't know what's written in the book, and if they don't even know what's written in the book, even worse, then it's no wonder why we see no power. It's no wonder we are proverb and a byword. We're the tail and not the head. But the grassroots, it always go back into the soil, and into the soil is where the corruption happened. Idolatry. And never let anybody, brothers and sisters, marginalize that like that doesn't matter. They've taught us to pray to statues and bracelets and cross and stars. Bow down before idols and at altars. Laying hands on. So-called spooky stuff coming out of the sky and somehow or another got you running around saying all kind of bibble-babble stuff and telling you, don't you feel strong now? And you just go right on back home. You got that little high, but nothing has changed. Still got to go to work the next day and, and still got to hope and pray that electric bill, is not as high as you thought it was because it was really hot and you had it on a lot longer than you were supposed to. The deception is everywhere. And only Abba Yah and Abba Yah's Torah and Abba Yah's Tanakh and his pocketbooks will help you see it if you embrace him. My people who are called by my name, is that not what Yahuwah told us in 2 Chronicles 7 and 14? My people who are called by my name, if they would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn away from their wickedness. What did he say? Then I would hear them from heaven. What people? The same people Isaiah 43 is talking about, Israel. Same people Isaiah 58 and 1 is talking about, Israel. Many, many more. He said what? I will forgive their sins. He said I would hear them and I would forgive them and then I would heal them. Healing is meaning that it makes you whole again. Push you back into your full power again. Put us back at the head and not the tail again. Deuteronomy 28 and 1 talks about that. And others, but we have many, many demonstrations when our people were being obedient unto Abba Yah, how he was blessing us. If you remember the story of old wicked Balaam, it's not a story, but how he wanted to Abba Yah to curse us for the heathens, because he fell in love with the heathens, so he wanted to side up with the heathens. Heathen was giving him things that he could not resist. They were making him offers that he could not refuse. And what did Abba Yah tell him in the Torah? He said, no, these people haven't violated. They haven't done anything wrong. No, I'm not going to curse them. No, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to give them over, to their oppressors. I'm not going to give them over to those who, better said, want to oppress them. And all these truths are written in front of us, but are hidden from us because, again, root cause idolatry. Idolatry is powerful, brothers and sisters. Idolatry is a direct confront to our Creator. What is idolatry? Any other Elohims, gods, or whatever you want to call them. I know we were having some little chatter going back and forth yesterday about the etymology of the word. I get what the etymology of Elohim is, but I'm not talking about multiple gods. If you would take a moment to listen and go through the whole video before they would make these judgments, they would hear me constantly saying, Sovereign Yahuwah. There's only one true Yahuwah. Now, we want to use the word Elohim because it's written through when we read the book, it references Elohim. Then how does that take away from his power? How does that take away from his truth when we obeying his Torah? They got the word right, but they don't obey anything. Or they obey the God of their own hearts, the Elohim of their own desires. We have to align ourselves over what's important, brothers and sisters. And what's important is, what does say Yahuwah in these last days? How do I save myself? How do I try to guide the people I love, onto the ark or onto the place of safety before that fire comes? Well, the only way that happens, brothers and sisters, that we have to come back to Abba Yah Yahuwah, and then we have to get into his Tanakh, get into his Torah, and learn about him through his apocryphal books. Learn about our ancestors and learn about him. Learn about how creation works, where the fallen ones come from. Are they still walking amongst us? And they are. Where all this technology is coming from. And it's not coming from Mr. Musk. He's just a tunnel or a funnel that is coming through. And he's not alone with that. There are others right along with him. Y'all know their names. I don't have to say them. But the apocryphal book will teach you these things. There are study groups like the one we have that will help you better understand these things. And even more, even most important, Abba Yah said he'll be with us and help us and increase our knowledge about these things. Again, Daniel chapter 12. So what do you say? Seal the books till the time of the end. Knowledge, what? Man will be going to and fro and knowledge will increase. What does that mean? In the last days, he says. And look at the increase in knowledge in the last generation. Look where we are. And look more, even worse, look where we're going. And I just mentioned that a moment ago. Not to be repeated. And it's time for every one of us to decide which side of this issue we're going to be on. Are you going to stay amongst, the idolaters? Are you going to continue to trust those who have proven time and time again they're not trustworthy because they're not studying the truth? And even if they were studying the truth, they're not sharing the truth. How could they not know who we are as a nation? Who is true Israel? How could they not know that? How could they not know what Isaiah 43:11 says? How could they not know that? They choose not to know it. They choose. It's a conscious choice that they choose not to know it because it's beneficial to them, keeps them in power, gives them authority, and even worse, allows them to lead others astray because that's exactly what the founder of false religions are, or the head of all of those fallen ones and the others that were here before those fallen ones. All they ever wanted to do was destroy Abba Yah's creation, his most precious Jew, the apple of his eye. That's how he describes us, Israel. They knew we were coming long before we knew who we were. And now that that knowledge is increasing and we're becoming aware of who we are, like David said in Psalm 55, they got swords in their hands and wars in their hearts. And they're conspiring to make sure the name of Israel, true Israel, Judah and well, is here no more. And they're coming. Now, I'm going to take you over into Jasher, and we'll go through. We may not finish, brothers and sisters. Again, let's let Abba Yah guide us, okay? If you're good with that, I know I'm good with that. I can think of nothing, better than to sit down and share Abba Yah's word with Abba Yah's people. Even if it's just reading of the word. Sometimes it's good and healthy for the heart just to read the word, just to hear the word. Let it, soak into our ruach. Let us know Abba Yah loves us, that we're his. You're uniquely made, wonderfully made. The best of the best. Let's go. Jasher chapter 11. And Nimrod, the son of Cush, African, was still in the land of Shinar, and he reigned over it and dwelt there, and he built cities in the land of Shinar. And these are the names of the 4 cities which he built. He called their names after the occurrences that happened to them in the building of the tower. And if you go back a few chapters earlier, you'll see about what happened with the Tower of Babel and how these wise men got around Nimrod, sort of like they do with the WEF. And they come up with this, what's in the best interest of the earth. And they come up with all these strategies. And then they take this, whatever they agree upon, back to wherever they came from. And they implement it without the knowledge or permission of the people to elevate themselves to godlike status. Nothing new under the sun. Because that's exactly what happens with Nimrod and his wise counsel, his economic forums. And they were set up to bend or break the hand of Yahuwah. That's what they were doing. Go back and read it. Everything was about either taking over the kingdom of Abba Yah, starting a war up there, setting themselves up there, or being gods themselves up there. And that's how they think right now, brothers and sisters. I know a lot of our brothers and sisters don't want to accept that reality, brothers and sisters. Trust me. That's how they feel. They want to be gods amongst men. Why you think they use the goat, all that stuff, greatest of all time, and all that, those analogies they give these men and women. Nothing has changed. Those demons just went from body to body, just generate, and many of them again are among us walking what we would think would be human beings, but they're just mankind. They're kind of men, but they're not real men. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They're demons inside of bodies. Or they're demons who look like men, but they really are real demons. They're not possessed by the devil. They are demons themselves. And they can reproduce. You'll know them by their fruit, their actions, their behaviors. Let's go. Continue on. But anyway, if you want to know more about the building of the Tower of Babel and what happened and how Abba Yah dealt with that, then that information is starting around chapter 6 and read forward. Jasher. Read up to 11, to where I am. And he called the first Babel, saying, because Yahuwah there confounded the languages of the whole earth. And see what here it says, when he said Yahuwah confounded the language, that's what we're talking about. There is no pure language. You hear people confront others, oh, that's not the original text. That's not the original, not text, but that's not the original language. You know, it's Semitic, and it's this, and it's that, and it's generic. I mean, it's Germanic, and it's whatever you were told or studied. I'm not disrespecting that, but it's still not the original language. Abba Yah said he confounded the languages right here. So none of us know what the original language is. So the very people who come in there telling us that we're wrong don't understand it. Guess what? They're just as wrong as we are. They just went to a different source who disproved what we know, but there's a source that would disprove what they know. They just don't know what that source is. So that makes them feel wise. And I understand that feeling, to have some knowledge. It's a good feeling. But knowledge without wisdom is what? Vain. What does it matter if you got all the knowledge and you don't know the importance of that knowledge is not relevant or not? So if you got all the knowledge but it's not relevant, nobody needs it, then what's the purpose of that knowledge? It's like putting money in bags with holes in it. Maybe that energy should be more focused on keeping the Torah, obeying the commandments, teaching others, teaching your children to do so, as instructed. And again, Solomon warned us, Proverbs 14 and 12, there's a way that's going to seem right to a human being. I'm right, I know I'm right about this, and you're wrong about it. He said, yeah, but it's still going to lead you to destruction. Because anything that you're trying to unrail, or how you say, you're trying to, what's that word? When you untie, anything that you're trying to untie, if you're untying it and it doesn't open up to you the truth, then all you're doing is creating a rag for yourself. It's like pulling on a thread on a nice piece of cloth. You might have been better off just getting a scissor and cut that off. You pull on that thread, after a while that cloth's going to be a rag. So just because you see something to pull doesn't mean you pull it. Except you're ready for what it's going to reveal. And some of this knowledge is not good knowledge. It's revealing nothingness. It's just becoming a distraction, vanity. If the knowledge don't lead anybody, if your knowledge doesn't lead back to the Torah and obeying the Torah, then it's wasted knowledge. Not because I say, it's because that's what Abba Yah says. And again, knowledge without wisdom is vain. So what do it mean? You can have knowledge, but you're still not wise on the application of that knowledge. Some knowledge is best just kept to yourself. Just be quiet. It's called being prudent. Only a busybody always got something to say about something they uncovered. Backbiters, gossipers, or whatever you want to call them. Agitators. My mother had an old saying. She said, whenever somebody comes at you with trouble, just remember this. She said, the dog that brings the bone is the dog that's carrying the bone. And what she meant is that a wise man or wise woman is not bringing information to people that has no relevance other than just to piss people off. To make themselves look big while making others look small. The sheer vanity. And we have to stay away from that, brothers and sisters. And the Torah will help you to do that because it talks about those things in the Torah. Proper etiquette. How to address your elders. How to address one another. How to address your parents. How to work inside of a community. It's right there for the learning. But there are many out there with knowledge, but that knowledge is for destruction. The knowledge is not for building, although they say it is. But when you go back and look at their lives and see what they've been building, you'll see not much, not for the kingdom of Yah. They might have a home, a car, and money in the bank. What's that got to do with their soul? And I think by now we all can see that this study has taken on a whole new direction. So I was saying, man plan, Yah laughs at our plan. So, this message is going to go to where it goes and it's going to stop where it stops. And I think I feel comfortable that we would have fulfilled our Yah's, direction for us today, his purpose for us today. But shall we continue? Israel, we're in the last days again. This is not the time to be, wasting our time again in things that just at the end of the day is not going to turn our people back to Yahuwah. If the languages are confounded, then we can't get caught up in the language. Quite frankly, that's why they call the place Babel, because the language is confounded. And they call this place Babylon. Think about how many languages here just in this one country. Hundreds, if not thousands. And they just babbling like a little baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, just, and you're like, I don't have any, what are you talking about? You know, I had a baby with a baby, you'd be like, what is this baby talking about? But babble means confounding of language. So next time someone talking about you don't have the right language, say neither do you. And keep it moving. Unless they want to talk about obeying the Torah and how they can best help you and you can help them. And so we can help others. So we can get out of this mess that we're in. And we'll prepare ourselves for Abba Yah's return. For that fire comes. Praise Yahuwah. And he called the first Babel, saying Yahuwah, because he said called the first one first, and he called the first Babel, saying because Yahuwah there confounded the language of the whole earth. That's everybody. And the name of the second he called Eric, because their Elohim dispersed them. And the third he called Akkad, saying there was a great battle at that place. And the fourth he called Cana, because his princes and mighty men were consumed there. They had the audacity to think they could fight against Abba. Just like these men now who are building all this technology, trying to get out into outer space and trying to, you know what I'm saying? But all these things they're trying to do, like they're going to be able to compete. They had the audacity, the arrogance to think that they can change, destiny. Just like they do today. Just like they're doing today. Nothing new under the sun. They really believe they can, change destiny. Religion is a big part of it, by the way, too, brothers, just so you all know, idolatry. That's why they're in those places, praying and doing all these sacrifices and different things that they're doing, because they're trying to feed their gods, thinking that their gods can fight against the one sovereign Abba Yahuwah. And they're betting on numbers. That if there's more of us, if we got more gods than the one sovereign Elohim, then maybe we can win. But they will lose, and all that are following them will lose right along with them. Because the princes and mighty men were consumed there, and they angered Yahuwah, that they rebelled and transgressed against him. And when Nimrod had built these cities in the land of Shinar, he placed them in the remainder of his people, what was left of those who were not destroyed, his princes and mighty men that were left in his kingdom. And Nimrod dwelt in Babel, and he there renewed the reign over the rest of the subjects, or the rest of the people, and he reigned securely. And the subjects and the princes of Nimrod called his name Amraphel, saying that at the tower his princes and men fell through his means. And notwithstanding this, Nimrod did not return to Yahuwah, and he continued in wickedness, teaching wickedness to the sons of men, just like these wicked, heathens are doing this very day, on the day that they worship the sun, and some are even doing it on the Shabbat and other days in the week. Although Yah has judged them, they can see Yah's judgment, they're ignoring it and moving on forward. Wickedness. Wicked men teaching their subjects how to be wicked. Embracing every kind of abominable behavior known to mankind. And our people and these people in these wizard havens and witch havens, they call churches or whatever, mosques, temples, synagogues, wherever they go to pray, to give sacrifices to their gods, to their Elohims, never realizing they're doing it to their own demise. They're going to be judged severely for that. But they don't learn. Ever knowing, never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. They don't learn. Y'all knock him down, a few of them get back up and go at it again. He knock them down, and a few more get him go, and he just keeps knocking them down. And sooner, brothers and sisters, he gonna just end it all. There ain't gonna be no more getting up. You just want to be in a safe place when it does happen. That's what this channel is about. DFG-End Times Messenger, end of days, last days. And Yah gave me that. Not something I was sitting around, chopping it up with some friends and say, I got a good idea. He put the fire in my heart. And he put the fire in my mouth. Because he loves Israel. And he knew he could count on me, like many others, to bring forth the truth with power and indignation and steadfastness. And that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. And I hope you are with me in doing the exact same thing, my brothers and sisters. Don't be like Nimrod and his followers. Those idolaters. The teachers of wickedness. And Mardon, his son, was worse than his father and continued to add abominations of his father. And he caused the sons of men to sin. And therefore it is said, from wicked goes forth wickedness. I like that. From wicked goes forth wickedness. So if you're around anybody who's doing wickedness, it's because they're wicked. They might be trying to shame or blame somebody else. No, it says from wicked goes wickedness. And remember, these were teaching the people to be wicked. The sons of men, that's mankind. Teaching them to be wicked. And the humans were right along with them, unfortunately. Well, not all of them. Because Abraham was around during that time. And again, if you go back in some of the early books, you'll see that. Well, we're going to get to it over here. I'm about to get ahead of myself. And for those of you who did not know, when Abraham was a little boy, 3 years old, he was on the run. His father had to hide him from Nimrod. Nimrod wanted to kill him because it was foretold that he would be a great king, that he would destroy Nimrod's world, or the world as Nimrod knew it. It was foretold to him by astrologers, witches, and wizards. That's why I said, my brothers, do not go and mess around with these Torah card readers and horoscopes. These people, they're right, but they're wicked right. It's demons talking to them. And the demons will tell them what they want to know, but Yah will destroy you for having that knowledge. You saw that? Remember the witch of Endor with Saul? When he went to the witch of Endor looking for Samuel? What happened? She conjured him up. And what news did Saul get? Oh, by the way, tomorrow you and your son will be dead. How about that? Bye now. And she was right. Leave that occultic stuff alone. Voodoo, hoodoo, leave that alone, brothers and sisters. There's death in there. You just can't see it because you're so amazed because of their predictions, but you don't understand those predictions are an affront to Abba Yah. And Abba Yah is allowing it to go past because you sought it, you want it, you can have it. Don't forget about Balaam. Balaam was confronted on that road by a dumbass. And then Balaam repented. Balaam, all right, I'm going to go back. I don't want to die. I'm going to go back. You know what Abba Yah said? Nah, go ahead on. Come on. You can come on through. Go ahead. You want this knowledge. You want this partnership. You want this relationship more than you want me. More than you want the truth, Balaam. You want access to wealth and influence and power. So you go ahead on. I'll see you again. And so, but again, back when Abraham was little, Nimrod, they put a contract out on him. He hid in a cave. And at the age of 10, guess where he went? His father sent him down to Noah. And Abraham stayed with Noah almost 40 years. And it was with Noah where Abraham learned about Abba Yah, Yahuwah. And just like Abba Yah protected Moses when Moses was a little infant who couldn't defend or protect himself at 3, he did the same thing with Abraham. Nothing new under the sun, brothers and sisters. And he's going to do the same thing with many of us. He's doing it with many of us. Many of us knew we were hearing the voice of Abba Yah when we were 2, 3 years old, 4 years old. I know I'm one of them. I always knew. Didn't know how he would use me, but I always knew he was there. And I didn't need nobody to tell me that. I came from a family that was very, very entrenched in Catholicism. 2 of my mother's 5 sisters were nuns, actually. That's how entrenched my family was in it. Yet, didn't stick on me. I remember going to Mass. I remember going to First Communion. I remember doing all that stuff. I remember sitting there looking at my doggone hand, not my hand, thinking in my mind, listening in my mind, about, what he was going to say, because I knew when he said a particular thing, I'm talking about these Baal, priests. And I called them these priests of Baal who are in these temples, giving mask. I remember saying, I know when he says this, it's almost over with. And I went in there waiting for that moment to get the hell out of there. I'm talking about as a child. I knew there wasn't anything in there for me. But like many of us, I had to go. I didn't have a choice in that. But Abba sealed my heart. And when I was old enough to not go, I stopped going. And when I was old enough to disassociate myself with that religion altogether, I made a proclamation before Abba Yah, and I went right from that straight to Pentecostal, non-denominational. A lot of similarities still there. But I wouldn't have nothing else to do with that darkness, that total darkness that was hidden behind the curtains or under them robes that they were wearing. The nuns and the priests. When you grew up around them, you get to know them real personally, brothers and sisters. They're not good people. I'll leave it at that. But they taught men wickedness and led men to wickedness. And our people today are still being taught and led by sorcerers. Some of our people are still dabbling in occultic things. They got the little necklace on, their little chain on. And who knows what else they're doing? Still, playing around with, with portions. I mean, what do they call this? Putting things in food and mixing up portions and drinking portions. Do you not think that, the stuff that, a lot of the stuff that these people are putting in their body, you don't think that those are evil, demonic, liquid, like spell portions, or potion, these are things that they created through evil ingredients, and how to conjure up and mix up evil. You follow me? And as a mixer, I guess is the right way I'm trying to say it. And they're drinking this stuff, and this, when they put it in their body, it caused their bodies to transform into whatever was hidden inside of their bodies. We call it drunkenness. Drunkenness is not just alcohol. Drugs get you drunk too. Mind-altering things. Think about it. All these things are put together to keep us farther and farther away from the truth. And man, you can go right into Israel in the urban cities where we are. What do you find almost? And if you find two things in those communities, if you don't find, within minutes you can find two things in the urban communities where the Israelites are. Two things within 5 minutes. One or two, if not both. One or two, if not both. You know what they are going to be? The church, which is going to cast spells, and the liquor store that's going to cause those demons that those spells are cast and to reveal themselves. Liquor stores and churches. Tell me I'm wrong. And you think that's not intentional. They know who we are, and they know what it's going to take to keep us in total darkness, total ignorance of who we are. Religion, and then portions, spells, portions, drugs. Prescription included. But here we lie, here we stand, with a golden opportunity in these last days to wake up and come out. But we let these wicked teachers, just like those who were in Nimrod's day, Abraham's day. And just the thing with Noah stayed there, and he got taught, Abraham stayed with Noah. Noah taught Abraham the things of, Noah and Shem taught Abraham the things of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah was present with Abraham that whole time as well. You'll read that in the book. Embolden him, just like he's emboldening us in these last days. Y'all know your brother, I go out, but I'm always going to come back in. Because you know why? Abba Yah is leading this conversation. Abba Yah is leading this dialogue. So I don't have to worry about forgetting or getting off subject. We go out, we come in. Because Abba Yah is with us. go on here. Verse 9. And at that time there was war between the families of the children of Ham, and they were dwelling in the cities which they had built. And Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, went away with his families, went away from the families of the children of Ham, and he fought with them and subdued them. And he went to the 5 cities circled of Jordan, and he fought against them and subdued them, and they were under his control. And when he went over into Jordan into the promised land, remember who was over there? There were giants over there. The Nephilim were over there. Remember, brothers and sisters? So you're talking about Nimrod and all these people. There was a whole lot of stuff going on. We tend to forget that. When we study in the book, we think it's just little mere men. No, when they were trying to get up to the Tower of Babel and building that tower, there wasn't no little 5'7" men and 4'8" women doing that. No, these were giants that were helping Nimrod build that tower. That's who built those pyramids and all those other so-called wonders of the world. See, these are the things they don't want you to know about. But here it is sitting right over. Who was over in Jordan when our people were taken out of Exodus, when we were taken out of Africa to get ready to go over to Jordan? What did we see over there? They said there were giants over there. And they said, what? Our people be as grasshoppers next to them. And I will tell you that I believe in all of everything in me, those giants are still here. They're up in the Caucasus Mountain, probably up there in the very cold extreme part that we would call Russia. Who knows what the actual name is? I'm talking about up in the Siberia parts, way up in there, up there. Or down deep under the ground, down in Antarctica, where no man can go. Where they claim they're doing scientific experiments. Land mass 2-3 times what we know of this earth, is what I'm saying to my brothers and sisters. We only know what they want to show us. I've said before, when you're looking up, most of our people think you're looking at the sky. And I said you're looking north. North and up. Or up and north. But I just want you to know that's who was doing that building. And they're still here. And that's who's increasing this knowledge. That's exactly what they're getting when these so-called, science people. Inventors, discoverers. I gave you some names already. I'm not going to repeat them. Y'all know the names. We all know their names. All of them have corporations attached to their names. How about that? Well, I'm so tempted to go farther, but if you don't know what I'm saying right now, it's just not time for you to know, and that's okay. For those who you know exactly who I'm talking about. Several of them. And they all got pale skin in common. How about that? It's enough for you. Males, I might add. At least we think they're male. Verse 11. And they served him 12 years and gave him a yearly tax. And at that time, Nachor, the son of Serug, in the 49th year of the life of Abraham, the son of Terach, and in the 50th year of the life of Abram, the son of Tanakh, Abram came forth from the house of Noah and went to his father's house. And that's verse 13. That's Joshua 11 and 13. And Abram knew Yahuwah, and he went in his ways and in his instructions. And Yahuwah Elohuah was with him. And that's what I was saying yesterday. When we say Elohim, we always say Yahuwah with him. We're not talking about no plural, multiple gods. I don't care what the heathens say it means. We're talking about the one sovereign. And as I was stating, if you listen to this channel or messages in its entirety, you wouldn't be jumping to those conclusions. No heathens over here, no idolaters over here. Been there, done that. Ain't no Jesus worshipers over here. No, nothing like that. Talk about over here mean with me and some of my brothers and sisters who I know feel as I do. Who all come into the knowledge of that. Some of them long time ago. Some of us over the last 3 or 4, 5 years. Again, verse 14. And Abram, he wasn't called Abraham at that time, but Abram is Abraham. And Abram knew Yahuwah, and he went in his ways and his instructions. And Yahuwah, Elohuah, was with him. And ways and instructions mean that they had a Torah. How else would he have known his ways and his instructions? And Tanakh, his father, was in those days still the captain of the host of the king of Nimrod. And he followed a strange Elohim, like many of our parents did when they brought us into these religions. A strange Elohim. In other words, they were bringing us in to meet Jesus, or Amon-Ra, or Diana, or Thor, or Semiramis, Tammuz, whomever it was. Hell, Peter, Paul, John, Matthew, Mark, Luke. Because they all quote these men and say this is what God said. But when you go back and actually look, that's not, they're saying it was according to what Matthew, Mark, Luke, John said. According means this is what they recorded them as having had said. But there's not, and they're saying that someone said something. But when these false teachers in their teaching, they'll tell you that's what the word of the Lord said. Brother Lamar and I were looking at Romans chapter 7 yesterday just to show him some things, and how many times people quote Paul and say Paul the apostle, and they quote Titus, and they quote this book and that book, all attributing to Paul and in the letters that Paul wrote, and claiming that this is what God said. But they don't say that when they're quoting Galatians, or when they're quoting 1st and 2nd Corinthians, or that's 1st, 2nd Thessalonians, or Colossians, Philippians. They don't say this is what Paul said. They say this is what God said, and yet this was what Paul actually said in letters, correspondence. And they're making Paul be a god. And then you go over Romans chapter 7, and you hear Paul talking about he a wicked man. He said the evil that he didn't want to do, that's exactly what he does. He even said his flesh serves sin. This is what Paul said. And they're over there quoting, epistle letters saying that's because he is their God, a wicked demon devil, who by his own admission can control his own wickedness. The evil that I didn't want to do, that's the evil that I do. That's a quote. And you and I know, we walk around somebody talking about, well, I didn't want to do this evil. I didn't want to touch these children, but I couldn't help myself. Would you give them grace? Would you say, oh, I understand. Oh, yeah, everybody feels like that. Yeah, you're just human. Getting so well you wouldn't. You'll be one off with their heads. But yet Paul is saying the same thing by what he said. That means he could have been anything. Could have been a pedophile, a rapist, a source. He could have been anything. He's telling you the evil that I would not do, that's the evil that I does. What evil? He's talking about wickedness. Go read it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go read Romans chapter 7. It's the one time I'll tell you to go over there. Because I will tell you, don't spend much time over there. You're going to get caught up in wicked sorcery. But he said it. That's the equivalent of saying that a man could be a pedophile. When they catch him for being a pedophile, he said, I can't help it. I'm just attracted to children. And you tell that man or the police or the judge or whoever, tell him, we understand. Yeah, you're only human, and human going to make mistakes, so we good. You can go home now. We just wanted to talk to you about it. See how you were feeling. And we all know that we would never tolerate that wickedness, but we're tolerating a man who more or less could have been saying the same thing, because we don't know what his evils were. I know he didn't have no woman. He said he wasn't attracted to no women. Don't take a stretch of my imagination to figure where that can go. But let's come back to the book. And Abram came to his father's house, and he saw 12 Elohim standing there in the temples. And I don't know why, but 12 disciples came to my mind when I read that. So I'm not saying one is the other, but then again it could be, because they make the disciples out to be what? Followers of Christ, meaning what? They're supposed to be like elevated men. Elohims. Anything that's elevated over a man's status, a natural man, is an Elohim, brothers and sisters. That's why I say a suspect when they say the gospel according to Matthew, a man. The gospel according to John, a man. A gospel according to Luke, a man. A gospel according to Mark, a man. And they quoting these men and what they said they saw. Now, I just said a mouthful with that statement. If there was ever a time you should have had a light bulb just went off, that was a light bulb going off, moment. Oh, that should have been I never thought of moment. God's working with you if that's how you're feeling, just so you know. You're here for a reason, wherever you are on this earth. If you're I'm in front of you, or you're hearing me speaking, that's Abba Yah touching you on the shoulder saying, excuse me, miss. Excuse me, sir. Have you considered this? Let us continue. Verse 17, and Abram said, as Yahuwah lived, these images shall not remain in my father's house. So shall Yahuwah, who created me, do unto me, if in 3 days' time I do not break them all. You see how he was holding himself accountable for coming out? See how he was holding himself accountable for correcting error, brothers and sisters? He already knew what the commandments were. He didn't need nobody to tell him. He knew it was a violation of the Torah, of the commandments. And he said, just as sure as I'm alive, and as sure as Abba Yah is the creator, Yahuwah, of heaven and earth, if I don't get rid of all of these things in 3 days, I hope he do to me what I'm about to do to them. Now that's what conviction sounds like. Not I'm waiting and see what y'all gonna say. I'm gonna pray about it, sister, and or brother, we gonna fast for the next 5 or 6 days and see what y'all shows us. Yeah, really? We already know what the word is. Why I gotta fast about what I already know? Not speaking against fasting. But if I know the commandment is thou shalt not lie, why I gotta fast to stop lying? Just stop lying. If I know that I shouldn't have idols of made with wood and stone in my house, why do I need, to wait to spring cleaning? When I do my spring cleaning, I'll throw it away then. Why do I think a Christmas tree is harmless? When the book clearly tell you it's vanity and it's what the heathens do. You're looking at, that's Jeremiah 10. Y'all, if you listen to yesterday, you heard me talk about that. And you got people tell, it's innocent. Well, Abraham didn't think it was innocent when he saw these little, gods in his house, these little angels of Mary and angels of Joseph and the little manger. You know what I'm saying? The nativity, Christmas nativity. He didn't think it was innocent when he saw those things made with wood and stone and porcelain or whatever. He didn't think it was innocent. He thought it was a direct affront to Abba Yah. The question we have to ask ourselves is, why aren't we feeling the same way he felt? We say, those of us who say we serve the same Elohim, or we serve the same Yahuwah. And if he doesn't change, then why is it in your house? Why are you holding on to it? Why aren't you feeling convicted? Abraham felt so convicted, he went in his father's house and started tearing shit up. This gotta go, 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 this gotta go. Yeah, this can't stay, this gotta go. Abba Yah is trying to tell us something, brothers and sisters. Some of us are listening and some of us are not. But we won't be able to say we weren't aware, that he didn't tell us. We didn't understand the seriousness of idolatry. It won't be something you'll be able to say at judgment. Not with all this knowledge coming out about it. Including worship idolatry. Religion idolatry. Any other secret sworn in societies. You got to take an oath to get in there. You're just taking an oath into a society or something that's an affront to Abba Yah. So we're not supposed to be a part of any secret anythings, groups. Yeah, bro, but they say Jesus and God. Yeah, right. You just don't know who Jesus and God is, so you assume it's the one, in the book, and it's not, because you're not studying the book. Or you letting teachers who are flat out teaching wickedness, and we just saw like Nimrod's son, teach you. And you think because you're getting taught by them and they sound knowledgeable that somehow or another they know what they're talking about, and therefore you don't need to investigate it. You're just going to take their word for it. Not going to end good. Just saying. If you do that, not going to end good for you, sister. You need it, brother. Jasher 11 and 18. And Abram went from them, and his anger was burned within. And Abram hastened and went from the chamber of his father's outer court, and found his father sitting in the court, in the yard, and his servants with him. And Abram came and sat before him. And Abram asked his father, saying, Father, tell me where Elohim, who created heaven and earth, and all the sons of men upon the earth, and who created you and me. And Terah answered his son Abram and said, Behold, these who created us are all with us in this house. And he was talking about all the idols that he had in there. I'm talking about, and again, when I say idols, brothers and sisters, some of us saying, well, I don't pray to it. You don't have to pray to the idol for the idol to be an idol. It is an idol. If it represents something spiritual to you, it is an idol. It is a god. Whether you pray to it or not. The fact that you have it in your home as an artifact that represents something spiritual makes it a god unto you. Except it be from Abba Yah. What is the thing doing? Who made it? Where is it from? What does it represent? Does it direct you to Abba Yah's Torah? Does it direct anybody to Abba Yah's Torah? Or to knock? On site? Or is it directing them into darkness that they can't see but feel? Spiritual wickedness or power, but it's not from Yah. And Abram said to his father, My Lord, show me, I pray you. And Tanakh brought Abram into the chamber of the inner court, and Abram saw, and behold, the whole room was full of Elohim of wood and stone, 12 great images, and other less than the one, and other less without number. He said he had, little small ones and big ones all over the place. And this is Abram's father. And Terach said unto his son, Behold, these are they which made you, and these are they which made all of you see upon the earth. All that you see upon the earth, and which created me and you, and all mankind. And Terach bowed down to his Elohim, and then he went away from them, and Abram his son went away with him. Just like when they go into these churches, and you see them bowing down, to the cross, or you see them bowing down, to the images, Jesus, those things. Bowing down to those things, bowing down in front of those things. It happens in the temples, in the mosque. It happens, at Mecca, the big stone. They walking around the thing. It happens over it, where the fake ones are, where they're looking over there, bumping their head on it and they're like, humping on it, making little sexual gyrations to it over there too. To show you that it's wicked. It's right hidden in plain sight, brothers and sisters. Let's continue. And Abraham had gone when Abram had gone from them, he went to his mother, and he sat before her and said to his mother, Behold, my father has shown me those who made the heaven and earth, and all the sons of men. See, parents will deceive you, brothers and sisters. A lot of us grew up and we got into, we followed our parents into religion, thinking that they were right. Some of them beat the crap out of us. Some of them beat the crap out of us. We didn't go with them in there. We didn't sit in there quiet. You better be listening. Traditions of men. And here it is. Abram is dealing with the same thing. And if some of our people right now are saying, well, I was born a Baptist and I'm going to die a Baptist. Like that's something chivalrous, honorable. When it's really, a confession of damnation. If Yah is not in that, and he isn't in that, then dwell in temples made with the hands of men. He told that to David. They were talking about building a tabernacle. He said, what tabernacle is going to contain me, David? Verse 24, and therefore hasten. And he's talking to his mother. Let me go back to 23. And Abram had gone from them, and he went to his mother and sat before her and said to his mother, Behold, my father has shown me those who made heaven and earth and the sons of men. Now therefore hasten and fetch a kid from the flock, a goat, and make of it savory meat, tasty meat, that I may bring it to my father's Elohim as an offering for them to eat. Perhaps I may thereby become acceptable to them. Perhaps I may thereby become acceptable to them. Now you got to remember, this is the same Abram who's been studying with Noah for almost 40 years. So he's now using wisdom. How can I get their attention? And that's why I say to my brothers and sisters, when you're dealing with, with religious people, you're going to have to be smarter than, as that old Yogi Bear thing, you're going to have to be smarter than the average bear. I'm smarter than average bear. I had to say that. You're going to have to be smarter than Yogi the bear when you're dealing with heathens and their religions and their customs and their traditions. You're going to have to go before Abba Yah and ask him for wisdom. And then fellowship amongst those who Abba Yah has given wisdom to teach you, how to approach them. Honorably, but concise, directly. But with honor, not disrespectful. Use wisdom, prudence. Verse 25, and his mother did as she was asked, and made the savory meat and brought it to Abram. And Abram took the meat from his mother and brought it before his father's Elohim, and he drew near to them that they might eat. And Terah, his father, did not know of it. So Abraham just said, you know what? Obviously this guy is lost in the sauce. So let me just go on in here and see what he said these are his gods. They made heaven and earth. They made me. Let me see what they can do. Boy, wouldn't that be a great question if we were asking that question in all of these churches and synagogues and stuff that we were in, brothers and sisters? Before we walked into the church, after we were walking out of communities that were full of trash, crime, dilapidated buildings, rodents running around, etc. Shouldn't that have been something we've been asking? Well, boy, this is where Abba Yah dwell. Why don't come outside? What are you doing in there? Taking a rest? Because he sure don't see this mess. Isn't that what Elijah, when he confronted Jezebel's prophets of Baal? Where's your Elohim? Is he taking a nap? Is he asleep? Where is he? Tell him, come on down. Y'all need him. He needs to make a difference in your lives. Of course, he didn't show up because their Elohims are dead. They only can incorporate wickedness through men and evil, destructive things. They're not builders, they're destroyers. And they're good with destruction. They're good with death, depravity, wickedness, abomination. That's why you don't see no change in these communities where all these liquor stores and churches are. It's not intended to make the community better. It's intended to keep the people there slaves. Mental slaves. Spiritual slaves. Nah, I said it. You still want to be in there? Verse 26. And Abram saw on the day when he was sitting amongst them that they had no voice, no hearing, they couldn't move, and not one of them could stretch forth his hand to eat. And Abram mocked them and said, surely the savory meat that I have prepared has not pleased them, or perhaps it was too little for them, and for that reason they would not eat. Therefore tomorrow I will prepare fresh savory meat, better and more plentiful than this, in order that I may see the result. So that's what we didn't do. We didn't challenge, the so-called pastor. We didn't challenge, the elders. We didn't challenge anybody in there about what the heck is going on around here and how am I blessed when I don't have a pot to pee in and a window to throw it out, and mama been here since she was a little girl, she don't have a pot to pee, and oh, by the way, grandpa and grandma been in here and they don't have a pot to pee in and a window to throw it out. Why are we here? Jesus will fix it. When? I mean, after all, 2,000 years ain't long enough. But we were trained not to ask questions. We were trained just to go along. Just listen to what the pastor say. Listen to what the first lady say. Listen to the brother elder. Listen to the sister head of the usher board. Shh. And Abram is mocking it because he knows better. He's like, this stuff is dead stuff. And these people think there's really power in here. Wow. How deceived they are. Where they got that from? Wicked men taught them. Just read that. Idolatrous wicked men taught them. Just as they're still doing today. And I can give you a bunch of names, but what does it really matter? If you don't want Abba Yah and you're not going to come out of that stuff, then it's nothing your brother's going to say. That's going to change that. You got people in your family who want to be there. I'm not saying don't confront them, but like I said, if you're going to confront them, make sure they got a Bible and you got a Bible. We know it's the Tanakh, but other than that, I wouldn't confront them because they're just going to accuse you of conflating stuff, overreacting to stuff. So if they want to have a discussion, have it the right way. Get your book out. I got my book out, and let's see what the book says. We're going to start in Jasher. That's what you tell them. As a suggestion. I'm going to read a few more verses, brothers and sisters, and we'll be done. Praise Yahuwah. And it was the day after the next that Abraham directed his mother concerning the savory meat. And his mother rose and fetched 3 fine kids from the flock. And she made of them some excellent savory meat, such as was her son was fond of. And she gave it to her son Abram and Terach, his father, and his father did not know of it. And again, who can cook better than the Israelites? I'm talking about real, man. I ain't talking about some foolishness that you go find in so-called fine restaurant where they got a piece of food that big on a plate with some, sauce on it, talking about this is fine dining. I'm talking about, red beans and rice and cabbage and cornbread and fried chicken and baked chicken and mac and cheese. I'm talking about that kind of stuff. Not no pig. Not no abominable foods. Nobody can outcook us. Especially when it comes down to sauces. How to make it taste good. That's how you know this is our people here, brothers and sisters. Lost in the sauce, of course, they were idolaters. But aren't many of our people idolaters this very day? How many of them getting up tomorrow morning and going to practice idolatry? Church. Verse 29, and Abram took the savory meat from his mother, and he brought it before his father's Elohim, and into the chamber. And he came near unto them that they might eat. And he placed it before them, and Abram sat before them all day, thinking perhaps they might eat. And Abram viewed them, and behold, they had neither voice nor hearing, nor did one of them stretch forth his hand to the meat to eat. That's why it's talking about why we have all these things around us, these idolatrous things that we're seeking and using for elevation or for edification or for connection or for spiritual growth when they do absolutely nothing for us. And our people purchase that for those purposes. Even the little angels, the little white ones and the little black ones or chocolate ones. Why are they there? Who do you think those images came from? We read in the book of Maccabees, First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 48 said they made the image of the likeness of themselves and put it in our Torah. And I suspect that all these little angels are the likeness of those who made a likeness of themselves and put it inside of our Torah. And our people are worshiping it indirectly just because they're not praying to it's for decoration. Really? An angel, a white angel with wings. And it's just decoration. Now you sound like Terah, Abraham's father, justifying it instead of just taking it out and getting rid of it. That's what Yahuwah had Abraham to do. Why would you think he wouldn't have you to do it? Or any of us to do it? If he's no respecter of person, he does not change. Same yesterday, today, and forever. I am Abba Yah Yahuwah, I change not. Malachi 3 and 6. I'm not a man that I should repent, or son of man that I would lie. Numbers 23 and 9. I am Elohim Yahuwah, and there is none before me or after me. Isaiah 43 and 11. I am Yahuwah Elohim. There should, and I am the only one. Exodus 22 and 20. I am a jealous Elohim, and I will destroy any of them who try to compete with me. Exodus 20 and 5. Yahuwah. Some people don't want to be convinced, brothers and sisters. They don't want the truth. They'd rather believe in these gods made with the hands of men to their own damnation than to trust the creator of the heavens and the earth as well as themselves, who can bring forth gifts unimaginable and eternal life to those who seek him and obey his Torah. Proverbs 28 and 9, because that's the only way you're going to hear your prayers. And in the evening of that day, in the house of Abram was clothed with the Rahuk Elohim. Hallelujah. And he called out and said, woe unto my father and to this wicked generations whose heart. See, now, Abram had enough of this foolishness. See, now he's taking a stand. And all of us, brothers and sisters, are going to have to take that stand at some point. And many of us shy away from that. Well, I don't want to be confrontational. And, I don't want anybody thinking that, I'm speaking against their belief. They got a right to believe just like I have a right to believe. Says who? Where'd you get that from? I haven't read in the book that the heathens some of Israel don't have to keep the commandments while others do. I haven't read in this book that some of Israel can be idolaters while others don't have to be. That's not written in the book. That's hearsay. That's old fables, passed down, stories from long ago. Men's logic. That's not the word of Abba Yah. We don't conflate this word. We don't tell them that their belief is equal to our belief. No way. That's lying. That's misleading. That's being manipulative. You tell them, no, I don't believe that, and what you believe is wrong. Now, you can believe it. I can't stop you from believing it, but don't you dare come over and think that somehow or another I see it at the same level as what I'm doing. No, I don't. Yours is going to take you to eternal fire. Mine's going to take me to eternal life and happiness. To be with my Abba Yah for eternity, and my brothers and sisters who are like-minded. Don't you dare compare us to y'all down there burning. Because that's where your Elohim going to take you. Or Elohim with an S. I know it's plural, but I did it anyway. So Abraham was like, enough of this stuff, enough of this. And plus the power of Yahweh convicted him. He like, I gotta do something. You know, I talk again about Brother Franklin. I don't want to do overkill on the brother's testimony, but like he said, I couldn't wait to meet up with my old pastor so I can explain to him, hey, you told me all this stuff and I sent you some information and I thought you would get back with me because I'm trying to figure out, you know, who's right and who's wrong here, because according to what you've been saying, you know, this is the way I was supposed to go, and now I'm studying on my own and I'm finding out that's not the way, so can you give me some insight here? And when he saw him, guess what? He confronted him. You know why? Because he was one with Abba Yah, talking about Brother Franklin. He was like, no, I got it. It's time. It's time. See, many of us brothers and sisters, Abba Yah putting you in the right situation and it's time, and you're not stepping up to the plate. You're not meeting the challenge. You're running. You're afraid. You don't trust Abba Yah. I do, bro, but I don't want to cause no problem. Who's causing the problem? You or them? Who was causing the problem here? Abraham or Tarak, his father? Before Abba Yah, his father was causing the problem, not Abraham. So who you trusting? We all have to ask ourselves that question. In the time of trouble, can we be counted on? In our time of trouble, will we trust Abba Yah Elohim, Yahuwah? The sovereign, only Yahuwah. The creator of the heaven and earth and everything in it, including the wicked ones. Who you trust. Because who you obey, that's who you trust. Who is persuading or influencing you is who you have the most trust in. And we won't get to that today, but Abram and his brother, Lot's father, oh, and by the way, Sarah, his wife, father too. It's a little confusing when they trying to figure out what relationship was Sarah to Abraham. Looks like they were cousins. I'm sorry, that she was his niece. But again, that's a story for another day. But if you're not going to stand before men, before Abba Yah, then you really think he's that mortal men, you think you're going to stand up against a system of tyranny that's coming? You really think you're going to resist them when they come and say, here are your options? And none of those options line up with what you know is in your best or your children's best interest? I mean, if you can't trust yourself to stand up for yourself in front of a man or a woman, then how you think you're going to be able to stand up against an oppressive system of government if it's coming to enforce its new laws or mandates upon you? How are you going to do it? You're not going to do it. I'm talking about if you're afraid. Now, if you're not afraid and you're taking a stand, then that's just a validate for you that you have it in you to pass the test, which is what he did. Sister Naya had a very similar example. And these are 25 and 21-year-olds, so you so-called gray heads or hoary head ones out here, male and female. What's your excuse? Talking about not standing up against the wicked when they come at you trying to conflate and trying to bring their Elohim on the level of Abba Yah, Yahuwah. You're scared to what? Be ostracized? So what? If you're Abba Yah with you, you never ostracize. Yahuwah with you. And we're here too, by the way. And you can find us every Wednesday night, Yah willing, and you'll hear real voices and talking, me included, myself included. Yes, we're real tangible people who believe like you believe if you're a true believer. You're not alone. So take that, I'm going to say it like I think. Take that excuse off the table. Can't use that excuse no more. We're here with you, so you're not alone. But you got to come to where we are. We're not going to come get you. You need to come where we are. We're telling you we're here Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Now, if you refuse to do that, and you're sitting there alone, then that's on you, right? Don't cost you nothing but time, which is your most valuable, possession anyway. But time well spent is it's called being productive. And the most productive time that any of us can spend is before like-minded believers of Yahuwah, Israelites, specifically. Okay, I'm going to read this and then we're done. A couple of more verses, brothers and sisters. Again, verse 32, and he called out and said, woe unto my father. I would say, my doggone father is an idiot. And this wicked generation, all these people, who are alive, who believe the same way my father believes, whose hearts are inclined to vanity, celebrating these wicked holidays and festival days and all this other stuff that go totally against what Abba Yah told us to participate in. Learn not the ways of the heathens, who serve these idols of wood and stone, cross, bricks, walls, plastic, ceramic, which can neither eat nor smell, nor hear nor speak, but who have mouths without speech, eyes without sight, ears without learning, hands without feeling, legs that cannot move. Like them are those that made them that trust in them. In other words, he's saying they're dead making dead things, or they look like those who made them. That's why the book says our commandments, and the Torah says we don't make nothing like the image of things in the sky, things on the earth, things under the earth, things in the sea. Things that look like, male or female. Is that not in our commandments? And use those as methods, cross included, unks and all those things included. As the stars of David included, flags and things like that included. All your patriotism is nothing but idolatry. If you to love Abba Yah with all our mind, heart, and strength, then who got time to love a flag or a song? I'm loyal to it. I'm faithful to it. I'm a patriot to it. Then you're rejecting the truth of who your true loyalty should be to. And you can't serve two masters. So cut that out. He's sovereign, jealous, not sharing his space with anyone. He wants you 100%. And if you don't come 100%, you're going to get rejected. No idolatry, no learning other ways of heathens, no participating in anything made with the hands of men that cannot see, speak, talk, walk, create. And gives all that power and authority and glory to the one Creator, Yahuwah. And when Abram saw all these things, his anger was kindled against his father. And he hastened and took a hatchet in his hand. And he came to the chamber of the Elohim. And he broke all of his father's Elohim. He broke them all. He started smashing them, brothers and sisters. And when he had done breaking the images, he placed the hatchet in the hand of the great Elohim, which was there before them. And he went out. And Terach his father came home, for he heard at the door the sound of the striking of the hatchet. He heard all that commotion. So Terach came into the house to know what was all the noise about. And Terach, having heard the noise of the hatchet in the room of images, he ran to the room of images, and he met Abram going out. And Terach entered the room and found all the idols fallen down and broken, and the hatchet in his hand of the large, a hatchet in the hand of the largest image, Elohim, which was not broken. And the savory meat which Abraham his son had made was still before them. That's why they can't change anything for you, brothers and sisters. And it's no wonder, because again, we were warned by Yahuwah in the book of Deuteronomy, through Moses, from verses 20, chapter 20, verses 15 on down. All these things would happen to us. We would be losers on top of losers, sick, deprived, just nothing but loss. Because those Elohims could not do anything for us. Yet they have us in all these places, whatever day of the week you're over there, telling you about what their God can do for you, and he has done nothing for you, your mama, your grandmama, and your great-grandmama. And you'll know I'm telling the truth. They don't hit the lottery, they're going to die poor, most of them. With nothing. All their life is full of chance. I hope, I pray, maybe. Maybe something's going to leave me a little something in the wheel. Don't forget to put me in your wheel. Abba Yah that controls and created everything. And yet we have nothing. And we're not investigating that. We're not even wanting to know why. When the answer is sitting right in the book as to why. So you reject me, I'll reject you. You serve all these other hymns and these idols and all these little ornaments and statues and things you have, chains, silver, gold, bracelets, necklaces. He said, if that's where you want to put your trust in, then I hope they're going to help you in your time of trouble, because I'm not. I'm going to drop down to verse 43, brothers. The rest of it just kind of dialogue going between the two of them. His father knew Abraham did. Abraham just trying to make a point. Like when you said they were alive, you said they created everything, then why couldn't they protect and defend themselves? Gideon had the same conversation with his father, of the men, in Midian, wherever they were. When they questioned him about taking down their gods, he said, let's kill him. He said, no, if what my son Gideon has done is wrong, then the creator of heaven and earth will deal with him. Y'all keep your hands off of him. Of course, nothing happened to Gideon. The dogs that came, they bark but can't bite. They dumb, greedy dogs can never have enough. Verse 43, and Abram answered his father and said, how can you serve these idols in whom there is no power to do anything? And this is what we should be asking our, parents or cousins or brothers or sisters or friends. You've been in there all this time and nothing changed in your life. You living like this. I'm living next door to you. I'm living like that too for the most part. Why are you over there? Or you on some kind of just emotional high when you go in there, because you're coming back out and you're right here where I am. And I don't go there at all. Ben stopped going. But some of us got a greater testimony. I stopped going. I started to see the power of Abba Yah in my life. I'm starting to grow. I'm starting to learn his word. I'm starting to learn who I am. I'm starting to trust more. I'm starting to see opportunities open up. I know when I leave here, I'm happy. I'm not afraid to die anymore. I am just die on and on and on. That's what some of us are getting. And we came out of there to get to this. Because where we are is where he is. He never was over there. This is the debate that Abram is having with his father, brothers and sisters. And he goes on to say, can they hear your prayers when you call upon them? Dad? Dad, I hear you praying, but I don't see nothing changing. Mama, I see you praying, but I don't see nothing changing. Can they hear your prayers when you call upon them? Can they deliver you from the hands of your enemies? And we know that's not the truth. We were enslaved, and right after enslavement came Jim Crow, and out of Jim Crow came, mass prison incarceration. Oh, and crack cocaine and everything else. And they doubled down on these churches. Built mega churches to herd more of us into their bonds. And gave us slick talking demons, male and female, to tell you about how good God is. Now I'm going to take up a couple extra offerings, and don't forget to pay your tithes. And they drive out of there in a Bentley, and you go out there, catching a ride with your neighbor if they didn't give you right, you wouldn't even have been able to go into that big sanctuary of nothingness. Not all of us, but I think you guys get my drift. Whether you're in Africa, or the United Kingdom, or the islands, you know this is true. And that's what he's saying. This guy, these things haven't done anything for you, Dad. I've been gone for 40 years. You right where I left you. Remember? He was with Noah and Shem for 40 years. And he said when he came back, his father was still what? With the captains of the guards. Still in the same position he was in when he left. 40 years later. Tell me that's not the story of many people we know in these churches. Some of these, women that were in church when they were 20 and now they're 70 and they still in there with their long robes on, talking about pastor. Make sure pastor don't get too much salt, in his food, guys. He got high blood pressure. And don't give him too many pork chops. Just give him 2 pork chops. Girl, pastor like them pork chops. I know he gonna get mad, he gonna want to go, but just give him 2 pork chops. After all, we don't want pastor in the hospital, because, our other pastor, they had to cut his foot off because he had diabetes. He's still there, still don't get it, still sleep. Him too. Talking about the wicked pastor. Being lied to and lying to everybody. Talking about the wicked pastor. 44. And surely this is not good for you, nor your sons, nor the sons of men that are connected with you. To do these things, you are silly, so foolish, or so short of understanding that you will serve wood and stone and do after this manner. Look how he's coming at his father with this one. Well, that's not disrespectful. That's clarification. That's a warning. He said, you that stupid, Dad? Mom, you that foolish? Son, you that dumb? You over there, talking about you Egyptology, Kemet, when they were the first enslavers? Don't you know the reason why most of us are here in America? Because of them running us down into Africa. And then once we got into Africa, their other cousins, sold us to the Arabs and to the ship merchants, the master builders. And next thing you know, we're in the islands and into the Americas, north and south. And that's how you over there talking about, that's what you think, those who love you are, your Elohim is? No, son, come on, let me help you. Let daddy help you. Let brother help you. Come on. Can we at least talk about this? So no, he's not being disrespectful. He's just clarifying. He's taking a stand like we all have to take. And continue to take. I know one time, each time, it's required of us. Verse 45, and you forget Yahuwah Elohim who made the heaven and earth, and who created you in the earth, and thereby bring a great evil upon your souls in this matter by serving stone and wood. And that's why I'm talking about, that's why I began this message, brother. We got to look at the etymology, the origins of a thing. All these things that are happening to us that are wrong and unjust and just flat out evil are happening. It's not a figment of our imagination. That's a reality. I don't care where we are on this flat earth. But the source behind it is idolatry. That's what they don't want us talking about. That's why when we start to call out, coming out and separating, and Yahuwah and we're the Israelites, they get all in their feelings. They want to shut you down, tear you up, destroy, take your messages down. You name it, they're trying to do it. But we got to be like Abraham's brothers, and so we got to hold our position. I don't care what you do. No weapon formed against me is going to prosper. Every tongue, everything you say against me, Abba Yah hearing, and he's going to judge you for saying what you said against me. You who workers of iniquity. In other words, you want to defend dead gods, dead idols, vanity, the ways of the heathens, their customs, their traditions, their gods, including Yahushua. If anything, he was a messenger, prophet, and there were many of those, so he wasn't unique in that regard. Yahuwah Elohim is our Savior, one sovereign one. I've given you enough information on that. If you care to know, you would know. Verse 46, did not our fathers in the days of sin, did not our fathers in the days of old sin in the same matter? And that's what I'm telling my brothers. We're repeating the same sins of our fathers with this idolatry and these feast holidays, these traditions, the traditions, customs, etc. If we want to win, and we want to discourage broken off, we want to be free, and we want to have liberty, and we want to have all the blessings that Elohim said he would give a man that making him prosperous and add no sorrow with that, then we have to come out and turn back to Yahuwah and obey his Torah and gather with like-minded men and women, male and female, so that we can continue to defend, protect, and serve one another. Nothing else will do. Verse 40 did not our fathers in the days of old sin in this matter? Yahuwah of the universe brought the waters of the flood upon them and destroyed the whole earth. Like going to bring fire down here and destroy this whole place. And it's not going to be as long as many of our brothers and sisters think. You think he's going to let them get away with the stuff they were talking about with artificial intelligence? You really think that they're going to be able to replace Elohim? Well, they tried that with Nimrod with that tower. See how it worked out for them? That's exactly how they're going to work out for these. Nothing new under the sun. Just like he judged them and destroyed them, he's going to do the same thing here. There ain't going to be many of them left when he's done. If any of them. We'll be here, the 1/3 of us, because he's going to have us pulled away, separated, with a ring of fire, meaning his angels, fighting on our behalf against anything that come near us. Again, no weapon formed against us is going to prosper. Though the enemy comes in like a flood, Elohim says, I'm going to build up a wall against your enemies. That's the promise he's making to all of us who are true believers who are keeping Abba Yah's Torah, brothers and sisters. That's what we stand upon. That's our confession of truth, not fate. We know it's true. Just like Abraham had his conviction, we have those same convictions. We are right, they are wrong, whether they know it or not. We have to decide from ourselves to come out of darkness. They have to decide for themselves to come out or stay into the darkness. But we still have to tell them about themselves. We still have to tell them about it. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. That's what Abram did. Verse 40, now therefore, my father, refrain from this and bring not this evil upon your soul and the souls of your households. Brothers and sisters, refrain from that evil. Don't bring that evil upon your soul, and don't bring it on the soul of those in your household. By what? Obeying Abba Yah's Torah, by teaching Abba Yah's Torah to your young ones, to each other, to your loved ones. You know, if you have a man, y'all share together. You have a woman, y'all sharing it together. If y'all living in a household together, y'all sharing it together. And again, we're hoping that all of you guys are going to be with us on the Bible study this coming Wednesday night, 7 p.m. So we can all share it together. Because that's exactly what we do. So why not be with like-minded brothers and sisters doing what you love to do? All before Yahuwah, preparing for his return. So when that flood comes in, we don't get drowned. When that fire comes down, we're not going to get burned. We won't be burned. Okay? Well, I hope this message was edifying. You know, all I can say is that I'm going to give you the best that I got. And that's what Yah is giving me to give to you. So I hope you give him the best that you have by listening and taking it to heart. All right? And more importantly, acting on it. For all you brothers and sisters who have been, kind enough to, to share what you have with your brother, I just want to say thank you, and it's much appreciated, and I hope Abba Yah keeps it on your heart to continue to do so. Those who cannot, I surely understand that if you could, you would, and just by, thumbing up the video or moving the video on, or just watching the video in its entirety, is a form of giving too, and that's as much as appreciated, okay? So that being said, brothers, until next time, love you in a Rahuk. Shabbat Shalom.